If you just look on record of accomplishments against champions, you kind of have to put Alex Pereira already in the conversation of potential greatest of all time.
But then you start to see that Pereira's hunting. It's like this hunting.
Yeah, the pressure never ends. And you get hit with a couple of those, 3, 4, 5 of those. All of a sudden, you're like, I can't walk anymore, and now he's hunting you.
Bem-vindos ao canal Clips MMA. Joe Rogan recebeu no seu podcast o também podcaster e ator Phil Von. E durante o episódio, Joe Rogan assumiu que já considera que o Poatan está na conversa para ser considerado o melhor de todos os tempos. Vamos conferir, já se inscrevam aí no canal e bora!
Also gotta, like, if you just look on record, this is where it gets crazy. If you just look on record of accomplishments against champions, you kind of have to put Alex Pereira already in the conversation of potential greatest of all time, which is so crazy. He's one of only 3 two-division champions, right? How many have been two? You have Connor, you have DC, you have Alex. I think that's it.
No.
No. I think that's it. Amanda Nunes? That doesn't really count because 45, it does count, but 45 is kind of a non-existent weight class. It kind of doesn't exist.
He's a hunter, that guy.
She was fighting girls that could have fought 35. It's real, but like 45 is the most, 145 for women is the most shallow division in MMA. So yes, you would say Amanda too. So it's a small percentage of people that have achieved that. And he achieved it in record time. He's knocked out so many fucking champions. Knocked out Jamal Hill, beat the shit out of Yuri Prohaska, knocked him out in the second fight.
That was crazy.
Bro.
Hunted him.
Bro.
That guy's unbelievable watching him.
He's a fucking monster, dude. He's a monster.
Force.
He's a force. What he did to Khalil Roundtree was a clinic.
Khalil's amazing,
He's
too.
amazing. To do that to a guy like Khalil, like that was a clinic in like elite world-class MMA.
And at first, the first 2 rounds, you're like, what is this like? What's going on?
Yeah.
Khalil's in it. They're both in it. But then you start to see that Pereira's hunting. It's like this hunting.
Yeah, the pressure never ends.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my God. It's like literally watching one of those snakes, like a snake when they're just kind of like, did you see that snake that ate that deer? It was like a 77-pound deer or whatever?
Yeah, I did see that.
You did?
Of course. I see all that shit.
Shit's crazy, dude. Bring that up that big dog, man.
I'm glad he says snake because that's kind of how Pereira moves. He moves like a snake, like he pulls back and then he strikes forward. He pulls back. He's a master at just getting right outside of your shots and then his shots are coming in right behind him.
And he operates at his own speed. He's almost like Alvin Kamara is a football player that does that. He operates at it's a speed you've never seen. It looks normal, but it's different.
Well, it varies a lot too. Like sometimes he moves fast and sometimes he moves slow. It's very hypnotic.
Yes, it's hypnotic.
It's also unique. He's got a unique frame, so he kind of he moves different on design. Wow. Like he doesn't switch his hips when he throws kicks, so you don't see him come until it's too late.
Right.
So he's standing in front of you, and when he kicks, there's no movement of his shoulders. He's just throwing these kicks out, and they land. And they're not as hard as if he put his whole body into it, but it's hard enough where you're like, oh, no. And you get hit with a couple of those, 3, 4, 5 of those. All of a sudden, you're like, I can't walk anymore, and now he's hunting you, and he's hunting you. See, I would put him already in the conversation. I don't think he's better than John Jones, greatest of all time, but I already put him in the conversation as a potential greatest of all time nominee. I think he's right there.
He's the male Katniss Everdeen,
and he's only been in MMA for a few years.
He's a hunter.
And he's only been in the UFC for a few years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. A couple of MMA fights other than the UFC, and then the UFC for this run at the top of the division, just smashing everyone to obliterate.